Nevada, in the midst of the weapons test range. It was codenamed Dreamland. The installation was placed under the Department of the Navy, and personnel required a Q clearance, as well as executive, presidential approval. This is ironic due to the fact that the President of the United States does not have clearance to visit the site.
Now wait a minute. Seems to me if I was the president, I would just turn around and ask the president to approve my ability to go in and see the site. In other words, if I wasn't allowed to see it, I'd just approve that I'm allowed to see it because that's one of the rules.
Yeah, but you also need your Q clearance, which maybe you don't have if you're the president.
Yeah, but I could give it to me.
Oh, that's true.
That's right.
Okay.
So, well, that just highlights honestly, if the government didn't have weapons, I don't think anybody would take them seriously. Anyway, back to the text.
The alien base and exchange of technology actually took place in an area known as S4. Area S4 was codenamed the Dark Side of the Moon. The Army was tasked to form a super-secret organization to furnish security for all alien-tasked projects. This organization became the National Reconnaissance Organization, based at Fort Carson, Colorado. The specific teams trained to secure the projects were called Delta. A second project code named Snowbird was promulgated to explain away any sightings of the red light crafts as being Air Force experiments. The Snowbird crafts were manufactured using conventional technology and were flown for the press on several occasions. Project Snowbird was also used to debunk legitimate public sightings of alien craft, UFOs.
Again, this Snowbird thing is, part of the gaslighting operation on all of us. Now, it states further, Project Snowbird was very successful, and reports from the public declined steadily until recent years. In 1989 when this was written. A multi-million-dollar secret fund was organized and kept by the military office of the White House. This fund was used to build over 75 deep underground facilities. Presidents who asked were told the fund was used to build deep underground shelters for the president in case of war. Only a few were built for the president. Millions of dollars were funneled through this office to MJ-12 and then to the contractors, and was used to build top-secret alien bases as well as top-secret DUMB, D-U-M-B, deep underground military bases, and the facilities promulgated by Alternative 2 throughout the nation. Now, you don't know about Alternative 2, and it comes up later in the podcast, so just hang in there. Okay, back. The secret White House Underground Construction Fund was set up in 1957 by President Eisenhower. The funding was obtained from Congress under the guise of, quote, construction and maintenance of secret sites where the president could be taken in case of military attack. They're called presidential emergency sites. The sites are literally holes in the ground, deep enough to withstand nuclear blast, and are outfitted with state-of-the-art communication equipment.
Continuing with Bill's story. By secret executive memorandum, Eisenhower had proceeded in 1954 to establish a permanent committee to be known as Majority 12, also known as MJ-12, to oversee and conduct all covert activities concerned with the alien question. Another memorandum was created to explain the purpose of these meetings when Congress and the press became curious. Majority 12 was made up.
So he's got two memos. He's got one memo that actually goes to Majority 12 to tell them what they're doing, and one memo to give to Congress if they were asked why these people are doing.
Because it's very secretive.
Oh, we're very secret.
So let's see who is part of Majority 12. Majority 12 was made up of Nelson Rockefeller, the director of the CIA, Alan Welsh Dulles, Dulles, the Secretary of State, John Foster Dulles,
His brother.
The Secretary of Defense, Charles E. Wilson, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Arthur W. Radford, the Director of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, and 6 men from the Executive Committee of the Council on Foreign Relations, known as the Wise Men.
Of course, if they belong to the Council of Foreign Relations.
Yes.
Nobody can disagree with them.
These men were all members of a secret society of scholars that called themselves the Jason Society, or the Jason Scholars, who recruited their members from the Skull and Bones and the Skull and Scroll and Key Societies of Harvard and Yale.
Yeah, okay, now the Jason Society, when you spell Jason, you have to use all capital letters. Otherwise, it's not the Jason Society. Probably has something to do with sigil magic, because capital letters are very different than small letters, and they mean different things in law, and on and on and on. Well, anyway, the reason they're called Jason is because their mission is in pursuit of the truth. And they were named after the fairy tale or a myth, Jason and the Golden Fleece. Well, the Golden Fleece, of course, is symptomatic of the truth, and they're questioning the truth. Yeah, they could have picked something out of Grimm's fairy tales or whatever. They picked this particular title.
The Wise Men were key members of the Council on Foreign Relations. There were 12 members, including the first 6 from government positions, thus Majority 12. This group was made up over the years of the top officers and directors of the Council on Foreign Relations, and later the Trilateral Commission. Gordon Dean, George Bush, and Zbigniew Brzezinski were among them. The most important and influential of the Wise Men who served on MJ-12 were John McCloy, Robert Lovett, Averell Harriman, Charles Bolin, George Kennan, and Dean Acheson. It is significant that President Eisenhower, as well as the first 6 MJ-12 members from the government, were also members of the Council on Foreign Relations.
Right, okay. We know about the Bilderberg Group and its aims, and the CFR for shutting down dissent, Council of Foreign Relations. Now let's learn a little bit about the Trilateral Commission.
According to their website, the Trilateral Commission was founded in 1973, bringing private sector leaders together to discuss global issues. This organization filled a crucial gap in communication between Europe, North America, and Asia. Originally, the founders envisioned a need for closer cooperation in an era of increasing interdependence as the U.S. lost some of its old influence. Nowadays, the common term for this sort of interdependence is globalization. The group has 3 chairman positions, 1 for each region. The Trilateral Commission is a small group with around 390 members. So why do conspiracy theorists think the group wants to take over the world? Here's where it gets crazy. According to conspiracy theorists like Alex Jones, the Trilateral Commission is attempting to create a one-world government. Other groups, such as the Bilderbergers, have also been accused of pursuing similar goals. Jones isn't the only one who believes this. Several U.S. politicians, including Barry Goldwater, also believe the Trilateral Commission is an attempt to consolidate power and influence outside of the traditional political structure, ultimately with the goal of overpowering governments. Why? First, the commission was founded by David Rockefeller. During this time, he was also running the Council on Foreign Relations, another elite international organization. The first trilateral group included carefully screened private citizens. In fact, one of the commission's rules prevents members from holding public office during their membership. This doesn't mean they can never hold public office. After all, Paul Volcker was a trilateral member until he became the chairman of the Federal Reserve. After his term as the chairman was over, Volcker returned to the commission. Jimmy Carter was also involved with the Trilateral Commission, and when he became president, he picked several commission members to serve under his administration. This organization has also held the ear of other presidents. Although Ronald Reagan did not initially approve of the organization, he did eventually come to see the value of the group, inviting trilateral members to the White House in 1984. This revolving door membership makes many politicians uncomfortable, and it's no surprise. These sorts of conspiracies are frightening because they don't require outlandish things like ghosts or aliens. They simply hinge on the assumption that powerful people will tend to take actions that consolidate their existing power. If, as the radical John Birch Society and others argue, the Commission is attempting to subvert democracy under the guise of improving life for humanity, then why is the group so open with their membership roster and publications? The Commission doesn't have to be some Illuminati spin-off trying to create a new world order to be dangerous. According to journalist Cecil Adams, the chummy atmosphere alone can create a climate of opinion that is potentially harmful to American interests. This concern becomes even more important when we consider that many of the North American Commission members become public servants and simply return to the Commission when their time in office is over.
Now here's when it really gets crazy. The Trilateral Commission started in 1973, but before that it operated under another name. Now the other name is the Trilateral Insignia. Now, if you've got a really good memory, you'll remember the Trilateral Insignia was the flag and the coat of arms and the design that the tall, gray, long-nosed aliens had at their first meeting. It's a really strange-looking flag. It's got contains 4 6-pointed stars, we call the Star of David. With one in the middle, and it's surrounded by snakeheads coming out from behind. Now these snakeheads have little wings on them, like they're winged snakeheads. They look like they're ready for business, ready to bite you. Okay, now we have one of these groups, not the CFR or the Bilderberg group, but the Trilateral Commission, that took their flag and originally their name from the alien flag of the group of aliens that we surrendered to when we decided to allow them to willy-nilly experiment on humans. I mean,
It's really strange.
that's a strange.
Back to Bill Cooper's secret government. By 1955, it had become obvious that the aliens had deceived Eisenhower and had broken the treaty. Mutilated humans were being found along with mutilated animals all across the United States. It was suspected that the aliens were not submitting a complete list of human contracts and abductees to MJ-12, and it was suspected that not all abductees had been returned.
Oh no!
The Soviet Union was suspected of interacting with them, and this proved to be true. It was learned that the aliens had been, and were then, manipulating masses of people through secret societies, witchcraft, magic, the occult, and religion. After several Air Force combat air engagements with alien craft, it also became apparent that our weapons were no match against them.